Hi there, I'm Doggy Dan. Welcome to the first part in the video series, The Easy Way to an Obedient Dog. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the most powerful dog training method in the world, which is also the easiest and, in my opinion, the quickest way to a long-term solution. This is not just about learning a few more tricks and a clever technique. Nope, far from it. This course, it's about understanding there's a completely different way of working with your dog, of communicating with them. And it's a way they understand. It's their way. When you're working with your dog and there's clear communication, everything happens smoothly. This approach literally puts your training on rocket boosters. And in terms of time frame, many dog owners are seeing big changes within just a couple of days. With dog training, like many things in life, there's an easy way and there's a hard way. And it doesn't have to be a nightmare. I know for some of you, you're probably thinking, is there actually a way out of this? Or do I have to get rid of my dog or puppy? You've found yourself in this tricky place, and it's not your fault. You see, to be totally honest, there's a lot of rubbishy dog training out there. Methods and myths that have made dog training appear so hard and complicated, and even sent you in completely the wrong direction. How do I know this? Well, because I go to work with people every day who've tried to train their dog with clickers, food bribes, shaking rocks in a jar, growling, squirting water in the dog's face, spray collars, pinch collars, and even, heaven forbid, using horrific electric shock collars. If you've tried this stuff and discovered it doesn't work, don't worry, you're not alone. Many people have been there, absolutely stuck, unable to see a way out. So my promise to you is this: by the end of this series, by the end of today even, you'll see that there is a way out. Now, of course, some of you may have a new puppy and you just want to get it right first time to avoid all the pain and stress, and that's great too. But first I want to explain a little bit more about why some of the most commonly used methods of training fail. And I know they fail because for a long time as a dog trainer, these methods were all that I had to use. The first approach is chicken and cheese training, or treat training, and I include clicker training in this. It's where you use a piece of food to tempt your dog to do as you're asking, and then you reward them with the treat if they do as you ask. Now, of course, if you've got a young puppy and you want them to learn a simple trick like a roly-poly or a high five, then using a little bit of bribery early on, some cheese, it can go a long way, and I'm all for that. That's cool. But hold on a second. Have you ever heard of a dog being put down because they couldn't complete a high five or a roly-poly? Of course not. This is what I'm talking about. Trick training, clicker training, treat training, basically bribery. It's one thing, and I'll show you how to do all the tricks that you want. But using food to train your dog or puppy has its limitations. You'll never solve any of the major behavioral problems that you're experiencing just using food. And a clicker, it's really just bribery dressed up a little bit. Essentially, your dog or puppy is still only doing what you ask for the food. You're simply adding the little clicking noise. But you may as well just be saying click, click, or good dog, and then treating them. It's exactly the same reason parents don't try to stop their children squabbling the whole time by using chocolate and a clicker. Picture this. You've got two kids fighting in a room. You walk in with some chocolate and a clicker, and you start saying, no fighting. Good. Click. Treat. Chocolate. No fighting. Stop fighting. Good. Click. Treat. Now, of course they stop fighting whilst they're eating the chocolate and you're shoveling it into their mouths. But how long after you leave do you think they're going to start fighting again? Of course, long term, this approach is not the answer. And we all know this when it comes to raising children. It's obvious. It's actually exactly the same when it comes to training dogs. Bribery, repetition on its own is not the answer. We have to be just a little bit smarter. Now, there's also still a lot of the old school dog training out there, often referred to as yank and crank, where people are screaming and shouting and whacking their dog, and there are lots of strange devices coming out to scare, shock and hurt the dogs, but they're all still based on fear and pain. Nowadays, this sort of approach tends to be done behind closed doors where nobody's looking, and to be honest, most of it I think is done out of sheer frustration because we don't know what else to do. The other issue, though, with this approach is that it doesn't really work. I mean, you can't just stop aggression by being aggressive. It's not the way to have a calm, obedient dog. So all of this stuff, you can just throw it away. Water bottles, shaking rocks in a jar or a tin, broomsticks, shock collars, the rolled up newspaper, throw it away. Gone. You don't need it. The other myth out there is that good dog training has to cost a fortune. From puppy training to obedience classes to repeat consultations from top dog trainers, it can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's actually all so unnecessary. You see, dog training doesn't need to take hours and hours, weeks and weeks. If you're spending heaps of time and money and seeing little or no progress, then you're probably not using the easy way to an obedient dog. In my experience, it often takes just a couple of minutes each day incorporating some very simple stuff into your everyday life for a couple of days, and you can have a totally different dog. The change is they should come easily. Also, what I've discovered is that around about a year old, your dog is the equivalent to a young teenager and they behave accordingly. Let's face it, we all know how difficult they can be to control. So if your sweet little puppy or your young dog starting to push the boundaries, then this really is just a sign of things to come. Like with children, as they grow up, your puppy or dog will start to test who's in charge. It can be a really tough period if your dog isn't choosing to listen to you. So in the next video, in an amazing live consultation, I'll show you just how fast dogs respond when you communicate with them in a way they understand. Because one of the most beautiful things about this method is that it totally aligns with your dog. Like I said at the beginning, they understand it because it comes naturally to them. It works with their nature, not against it. It's really their method. So your dog will totally get it. You're not going to have to explain this method to them. They'll be thinking, now you're talking sense to me. Now you're saying that you're in charge and I should be listening to you, following you, obeying you. Gotcha. It's going to be that simple. So whether you're dealing with an aggressive dog or a dog who pulls you down the street or is constantly barking or can't be left at home, or you've just got a young puppy and you want to make sure you get it right first time, then take comfort, knowing that there is an easy way out. It's an easy path that's tried, tested and works. So if you're wondering, can I actually get out of the situation I'm in? Can I actually save my dog? Then the great news is yes, there is a way. It's the easy way to an obedient dog. And I am so passionate to be able to share it with you. You can watch video number 2 now if you like by clicking the button below. I'll also email you the link in the next email. Thank you for watching and have a great day.